fun and talented, the New York Football Giants. Okay, look at the quarterback room. Russell Wilson. Personally, that's what fun. The corny, which is kind of fun. Jameis Winston, possibly the most fun quarterback in the NFL. Jaxson Dart, the young, hot, upcoming newcomer, really talented. And then Tommy DeVito, the Italian stallion. This is probably my favorite quarterback room in the NFL. And let's talk a little bit about Jaxson. I know it's preseason, but my boy Jaxson Dart was fantastic last night. They won. They're 3-0 in the preseason, the New York Football Giants. They beat New England last night, 42-10. And Jaxson Dart looking pretty good. Dan Orlovsky says this, hey, he's looking quite good. His eyes are where they should be. Very good ball placement, all of this stuff. What'd you make of the game last night?
The score says it all, and the box score says it all as well. Like, you got DeVito playing out of his mind, 17 for 20, almost 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, then on top of it, as you mentioned, Dart, when you have backups playing like this, it might be the greatest sign for team chemistry. I don't think you could have a better situation after coming off of the situation you were last year. Danny Dimes, I mean, DeVito got tossed in there a little bit, and they kind of went through the ringer, but everything seems to be settling. And I love the fact that you brought up the combination of everybody, all the characters in that room. It's almost as though it's reaching equilibrium. It's like the perfect square. And I don't mean that just because Russell's in the room, but like his corniness has become a little bit endearing, you know, like there's an element there, especially when you cut it against Jameis's vibes and
his personality. I think it fits. Did you see there was a clip? I wish I had it. There was a clip of Jameis and Russ doing some funny, like, call you on the phone type thing in pregame. That was cool. And then the iconic Dart feeding Jameis the W, Jaxson Dart. So it just seems like they're having a lot, like, it feels pretty clear. I don't know. It feels pretty clear, like, Russell Wilson's going to be the starter, at least at the start of the season. And you've got this very promising young quarterback in Jaxson Dart, who has looked very good in the preseason. And you've got Jameis Winston, like, great locker room guy, talented. Like you said, he came in for one play and threw a touchdown pass, like, looked great. And then you got Danny DeVito for whenever there's a blowout and you want to just get a little bit of the homegrown Italian fans, like, hey, that's our boy, Danny. Put him in there. So you kind of got a lot going on there for the Giants, man. And what do you make of this? Some of these throws from Dart, because this receiver, bro, I think, what is he, a third-year dude out of, where did he come from? Missouri, I think. Jalen Hyatt. And Jaxson Dart just diming these up. Dude. Brutal drop right there. Like, perfectly placed ball. Can you see that? Is that big enough?
Yeah, can we expand?
Enhance. Solidly placed ball, right? So there's one. And then here's another drop from Jalen Hyatt. Just like, hey, come on, man. You got this nice young quarterback here coming in here.
Yeah, I forgot about these.
These are kind of brutal, but so brutal on the receiver part, but promising for Jaxson Dart. What do you think? When do you think that he'll start it all this year?
Man, like we said last episode, it really just depends on Russ. Like, who's going to show up? Because look, we saw probably the first 6 to 8 games, Russ was playing like old Russ at the Steelers last year, and he was getting wins. He was doing everything he could to get W's for his team. He wasn't turning the ball over, anything like that. But the wheels fell off, man. And I don't know if that's going to come through again. But at the very least, as I'm saying, it's like you got 3 backups who can at least produce, even if it's just for short stints. The fact that you got 3 of them that you can kind of work in and out when one falters or the other one's playing really well, you can keep them in and cycle them through. But I don't know. I think Jaxson, this is like the best of both worlds for Dayball and the front office organization, all that kind of stuff, because they can give Jaxson a lot of runway to develop, especially when you got Jameis and DeVito there that can take burn and take the bullets for him, so that you're not throwing him out to the wolves if Russell falls apart. So I think you couldn't ask for a better situation for this team.
Yeah, I think there's finally like a little bit of hope here in New York. Get rid of Daniel Jones. Now that's the Colts problem. Congrats, Colts. Now they've got this situation. Going back to last year, though, I think so. It was interesting with Russ was playing well. Like, obviously they took out Justin Fields, who started off 4-2 for the Steelers last year. I think Russ benefited from the schedule a little bit. I will say that with the Steelers, because they lost their last 4. And they played in the last 4, Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City, and then Cincinnati. They went through a nice stretch there where they played both New York teams, where they played Cleveland, no offense. They played Cleveland twice. Like, those were some of the wins. Those were 4 of the wins, both New York teams in Cleveland. So I wonder if I look at the Giants' schedule this year, let's see, if they start off, they go at Washington, tough, coming off the NFC Championship game, at Dallas. Who knows? Who knows with Dallas? Kansas City, tough. Chargers, tough. New Orleans, okay, there's a W. Philly, tough. Denver is going to be good this year. And then Philly, then San Francisco. They got a kind of tough schedule, dude. So while I feel optimistic for the future because of the Jaxson Dart situation, I don't know if like it's not going to be a big turnaround this year for the Giants. What do you think?
Yeah, okay.
What?
Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying as them going to the playoffs and making a run or anything like that.
Okay.
Granted, for the past 2 seasons, we've seen some garbage, bottom of the barrel teams come from nothing to making the playoffs and making a run. So 2 years ago, we had the Texans and CJ Stroud making a run, going from absolute heap of garbage on fire to making playoffs with a rookie. And then you had last year, Jaden Daniels doing the exact same, making it to the conference championship. Like, dude, this has happened before. And it seems like, hey, when this does happen, it happens in threes, like a lot of things. So I think, there is a chance. Do I think it's realistic? I don't know based off of the schedule. That's going to be a big ask from Russell to bring back old Russ and keep the train on the tracks.
That's the only thing that I would be like, if you're a Giants fan, be like, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. You got a kind of tough schedule there. But it is sort of a perfect situation for a guy like Jaxson Dart. I know Dable's happy. You see those pictures of Dable like looking at Jaxson Dart on the sideline. It's like, get you someone who looks at Jaxson Dart the way Dable does. Because he's just like, that's our guy. And he had something in a presser. He's like, I'm just so happy that we got him. I'm so happy that he's our guy. Kudos to them, dude, trading up to get him too. Yeah. When he wasn't like Dart made kind of a late push in draft season, didn't he? Like he wasn't the number 1 quarterback.
Yeah. He was definitely not talked about as much as he should have been. And I know we have my uncle on here who is, he's at Ole Miss player personnel, their new version of the front office in the college ranks and everything. And he had high praise for Jaxson. One, because of his leadership, his locker room presence, everything like that. That's the intangible stuff that you need to have as a quarterback and a leader of a team and an organization, especially in the NFL. So you got those intangibles. And then on top of that, I think why he fell a little bit was there was a lot of buzz about his long ball being inaccurate and also just kind of soft. Yeah. But I don't think we've seen that. I mean, you showed the two clips right there where he was putting balls in the perfect placement for dudes to catch. And they were deep beyond the 30-yard mark. So, like, this dude has the ball placement to be an NFL quarterback. It's all about just tightening the screws and making sure he's ready to go. I mean, putting it in that window at this point in time is an amazing sign.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like, ignore the fact that this was an incompletion. It hit the receiver in the face mask.
Yeah.
Caught him.
Should not. If a receiver touches it, it should not be an incompletion for the quarterback. I'm going to die on this hill that interceptions that receivers touch and bounce up and incompletions that receivers touch should not go against the quarterback.
Yes, I'm with you right there. And as our dad always said growing up, if you can touch it, you can catch it. Receivers, okay? No excuses. All right, so that interesting quarterback room, New York Giants, I got my eye on them this year. It's like something fun's bubbling up. They have a little bit of swagger right now. Again, preseason. Let's pump the brakes. Fun to watch, fun characters in that room, cool backups. Let's stick with the backup quarterback conversation here for a second, okay? So we've been talking a lot about the Chicago Bears starting quarterback, Caleb Williams. Wow. How about their backup quarterback? This is kind of cool. Tyson Bagent signed a extension, 2-year deal, $10 million contract extension. And he went to some college. I was looking it up earlier today. I forgot what college. He went to a college I never even heard of, undrafted. And he got this $10 million extension. West Virginia kid. This was a cool moment right here. And let's play it.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of people don't know this, but, my dad is he's my right-hand man. And he didn't even have running water until he was in high school. So there's definitely a lot of things and people that I think I could certainly help with this gift I've been blessed with. But, yeah, just little things like that. Like, I don't really know anybody back at home with any money, so yeah, it feels good. I mean, it's certainly a weight off my shoulders and my family's shoulders, and yeah, it definitely means a lot.
Okay. No, I just looked up. He went to Shepherd, and it's a Division II in West Virginia. So
Wow.
like pretty damn cool to get to that, and then to get to the $10 million extension there. But okay, I don't.
Was he
He was
undrafted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So quite cool.
Yeah.
I have something that will kind of ruin this a little bit.
A back quarterback getting a big contract like that, and bringing his family out of poverty. You want to ruin it?
All right. Here we go. I mean, you tell me if I'm ruining it. Maybe I'm not ruining it. Maybe I'm enhancing it, actually.
Oh.
So his dad,
okay.
his dad is his right-hand man. Fun fact, his dad is a professional arm wrestler, right? Or something. Like, have you seen this? His dad is a
Oh, yeah.
professional arm wrestler.
I'm glad you did it because I was about to do it too.
What?
Is that a pun, buddy? Like when he talked about right-hand man, he's a right
Oh,
arm,
that wasn't.
arm wrestler.
I'm naturally funny like that. Subconsciously, I lie. All right, but this is what I want to bring up: his arm wrestling professional dad, and he mentioned him in the thing here. Do you guys remember last year, Caleb Williams' rookie year, when we were hearing all of these rumors? Okay. Multiple veteran Bears reportedly requesting that the team bench rookie quarterback Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent. Okay. Do you guys remember when this was going on in the middle of the season last year?
Yeah.
And then it turned out that these reports and these rumors were coming from Tyson Bagent's dad spreading them, like to like radio hosts around Chicago and like bubbling this up. And so So does that ruin the moment or does that enhance the moment?
It takes a little bit of the sympathy away from the situation. What do you do? You're going around and spreading these rumors about your son. Let other people talk about it. It's just like who's that NBA player whose dad came out?
Halliburton.
Yes. Sports dads are getting out of here.
Yeah. The pro athletes' fathers definitely can't act like little league dads. Like you can't do that once your son gets to a certain level. You can have all the pride and support for your kid, but let's not make it front facing and like in front of cameras. And there's something that cuts against like people becoming fans of your kid and building that legacy if you go ahead and do that and tarnish it in that way. But in terms of the Bagent thing, like what's great about this is that it wasn't because of the dad's rumors, right? So clearly Tyson is top quality and has earned this extension. And the last guy to get an extension, the last quarterback to get an extension at the Bears was Jay Cutler. So it's been a long time. Like he showed promise, he showed consistency enough for the front office to actually reward him for doing so. So like we're talking about backups and everything like this. When you find a guy who is incredibly consistent and maybe not playing to the starter level at all times and throwing those insanely, beautiful passes or those the things that take you to the next level, as long as you can find a guy who's a locker room dude who won't deteriorate or diminish the culture, an enervating person, and he's consistent in the X's and O's, you got to pay that guy because he's going to be a foundational piece for the organization, for your team moving forward so that it can be successful with those starters.
Absolutely. And there's a whole kind of subculture on Bears Twitter of guys like being like Tyson Bagent actually should start over Caleb Williams. It's silly, but Bagent is a very solid backup quarterback. And this right here, this is sort of a joke, but also would Tyson Bagent start for your team? And there's a good handful of teams, Scott, the Browns, that he might actually start for. And apparently, have you heard, I don't have a clip of it, but have you heard Ben Johnson talking about him? Like, this is also where some of these rumors bubble up, which are silly, but because of the way that Ben Johnson speaks about Tyson Bagent, just like, oh yeah, he's locked in, he's automatic, he's just killer, he's exactly what we want, like speaking so favorably about him. Whereas people maybe don't hear him saying exactly that same type of thing about Caleb Williams is where people interpret it like Bagent's the start for the Bears. But the fact that Ben Johnson is so high on him, I think also that played into them being like, hey, we got to extend this dude when you have such a solid backup quarterback like that apparently guys really like as well and respect. And what we just saw in that clip, like that was admirable. Yeah. And so I think it's a good situation here. This brings me, who's the best backup quarterback in the NFL?
Oh,
I know. It's a fun game. And we were just talking about the Giants and like, I'll tell you, Jameis is the most fun backup.
Yeah, I was going to say Jameis is the jolly backup.
Yeah.
He's the one guy that could get you like a solid 2 drives though, you know, like he's the one who could actually make something happen. I mean, the dude had a year where he threw 30 and 30 in a single year. I believe it was. Maybe more than that. But at the same time, like he'll produce at a high level, especially in spurts. So I gotta put him up there as the top dude.
Yeah. And one of his best skills is that he'll never get down.
Yeah.
Play bad. And he's always positive. He's always next play mentality, almost to a fault. They throw a pick, he's like, God's got me. Well, yeah, you threw a pick. Maybe you should be a little bit.
Do you remember when he said, "Dear Lord, please," what did he say? Omit me from the pick 60 or something like.
Deliver me from pick sixes.
Deliver me from pick sixes, Lord. Unbelievable personality.
Jimmy Garoppolo. The funniest thing is Devontae Adams leaving the Raiders due to rumors that he just couldn't stand Garoppolo and his play. And now ultimately playing with him in LA.
Whatever's going on with the Matt Stafford clone.
Yeah, I would say the other backup that's probably at the top of that list would have to be Kirk Cousins down in Atlanta. Like you gotta put him on there. The dude is a consummate professional, regardless of how he ended his tenure during the past season at the Falcons. If you plugged him in, there are zero worries besides like, he might throw a pick or two, but like he could finish out a season for you really well.
100%. I would actually probably put him as the number 1 backup in the NFL right now.
Safest bet.
There you go. All right. We talked about him in the other episodes. We don't want to harp on this too much, the Anthony Richardson situation, but just because we're talking about backups and he is now officially the backup for the Colts. And he's actually been like what he said publicly, like in press conferences when he's been interviewed, has been very humble and just like, this is the decision. It's all good. I got to work, keep getting better. But his agent has been a bit noisy here, saying, No, we have a lot to discuss. Trust is a big factor, and that is at best questionable right now. Anthony came in and made all the improvements in the areas he needed to improve, and by all accounts, had a great camp. It's just like, okay, what's his name? Derek Jackson. Are you one of the coaches at the camp? Are you one of the people who decide on this criteria? Just like, I think you just don't want a noisy backup, you know? Not that Anthony Richardson is being that, but his agent is not doing him any favors here, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's a problem when the agents.
This is tough behavior. Yeah. Bad agent behavior. It's like Danny DeVito's agent when he was like double charging people and just like rode the high of the 15 minutes of fame like crazy. You can't have that kind of agent behavior tarnishing your reputation.
Yeah, because it does seep in. I mean, we were just talking about the potential rumors or the alleged rumors that Bagent's dad was feeding those rumors out there and kind of sowing seed division within the locker room and everything like that. You can't have. It's one thing for a dad to do it. It's another thing for an agent to do it. There's something even seedier about that.
Here's the thing: you can't pick your dad, but you do pick your agent. Okay, and that does reflect. And I have something very important to say about agents here in a sec when we talk about Micah Parsons. But I have one last thing on quarterback stuff because I just thought this was kind of interesting. Bill Parcells, and we were just talking about the Giants stuff. Bill Parcells had this criteria for what you need for drafting a quarterback, and these are the Parcells rules for drafting a quarterback, which they say Jaxson Dart checks every single one of these. And it's this: be a 3-year starter. Be a senior in college, graduate from college, start 30 games, win 23 of those games, post a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and complete at least 60% of your passes thrown in college. Then what they said here, obviously, is Jaxson Dart checks all of those, as you can see right here. My question, do you guys agree? Do the Bill Parcells rules, do they still hold up in today's day and age? Because obviously Anthony Richardson does not check many of these boxes.
No. This is a criteria essentially for maturity. Like you could boil it down to just maturity, and these are all the factors that lead up to that. I think the one thing that's probably different to today in this day and age is probably the touchdown to interception ratio. I think it should probably be bumped up to 3-to-1 just due to the increase in passing percentage and like how frequently the game has turned into a pass game. So you got to increase that a little bit. But outside of that, I think this is solid. Like, it shows that you have the maturity to come in and at least give yourself a chance to play in the league.
Right. Like look at geez, who am I thinking? Bo Nix. He was over a 3-year starter in college. Here's something though. The wins. Start 30 games and win 23 games. I'm thinking of a couple. Patrick Mahomes didn't really win in college. Josh Allen at Wyoming, they were kind of middling in college.
Yeah.
Do you think the wins really matter?
I don't think they matter as much, but they're definitely an indicator. I think to those examples right there, you can find diamonds in the rough. You know, somebody who was just undervalued as a high schooler coming out that absolutely outperformed everybody else on his team. And football's a team sport. You know, an individual can only do so much to impact the end result, right? So at quarterback, you can do it more so. And I'm sure based on the statistics and the film and everything that came out of those two guys, those two examples that you just gave, like they were clipping at a high level. And obviously that's the case if they're winning MVPs, Super Bowls in the NFL. So like there are diamonds in the rough, but I think generally this makes sense, especially if you're in one of the larger, bigger conferences and or organizations and programs. Right. So like that I still think rings true. It just may not be exactly to those figures.
You know what's wild though to me though is like a guy like Mahomes, because I think he had a losing record at Texas Tech, at least one of the seasons. It's like, but in the NFL, I've seen him will his team with subpar talent around him, it's like at least wide receiver talent around him, to will himself to going deep into the playoffs and going to Super Bowl. It's like, how can you do that in college or in the NFL, but not in college? It's just kind of weird. It's kind of a paradox to me. Do you have any?
Yeah. I think there's a level of, I mean, we even just saw it right here in the Jaxson Dart clip of him throwing to receivers. Sometimes you're not the problem. You got the ball where it needed to go, and somebody else didn't execute. And I think that's just more common in the college game. Just guys aren't to the level of skill or precision or efficiency as they are.
You can have more sloppiness in college. All right. We got to talk about this. And this comes back to what I was saying about the agent situation. All right. This is a 3-minute clip, and I kind of think it's worth watching all of it. Mikey, Jerry Jones.
There we go.
Your boy.
Locked in.
Jerry Jones. Okay. So this is with Michael Irvin on his podcast.
Whoa, Michael Irvin.
I have agreed to give more money than has ever been given in terms of guaranteed money than anyone ever has as far as a defensive player. I've done that. Now, I am the cat that writes the check. Okay? Now, Mike has got 3 years with the Cowboys left. Yep. He's got 3 years. At some point, somebody has to have the say over the other. At some point, it has to be that way. My job is managing the check. Okay? Mike has got to do the play. Where's the least important part of this whole equation we're talking about? What is the least incremental part of the whole equation? The attorney or the agent. Okay? He works for Mike. Okay? He's not the principal here in any way. In any way. They're in here to make their percentage. They're in here to basically, yes, advise Micah. Come over to the office and I'll show you exactly what I offered Micah. You got it in the back. It's with all written down, everything to go. Come down and look at that.
I would get over there.
So you can sure look at it. You can sure absolutely look at it. Here's my entire point. Our point. Who is it that basically says this is ultimately recognizing we're trying to come together for an agreement, but absolutely, who is it that can go with it? And so the facts are, I don't know that I've ever been around. I've never tried to buy anything. I've never tried to do anything that I actually was going to bring all the services and somebody else was going to do all the money. But because the in-between guy wasn't exactly the guy that I had fit there, that kept you from doing the deal. That's exactly what's happening here. So many times in this industry, you have a different agenda going on with agents. a different agenda. They're playing a game. You tell me, our agents incentivized to not only get the most for that player, but they're trying to get what? They're trying to get other players because they got a high agenda for that player.
Right.
That's their incentive. Okay. Attorneys, exactly the very same way. And as you know, I do a lot of business. I do a lot of business straight with the principals, not with the attorneys. I do my time when the deal gets done face to face with the principal, not with the attorneys, not with the agents. So I'm just saying that nobody appreciates Micah Parsons anymore than the Cowboys or me. Nobody has ever offered him more money than I have played football. Period.
Okay. Jerry, nobody has ever offered him more money to play football. And just to add a little, let's call it more context here, is in this day and age, when you scrub your social media accounts of your team, this is how players throw like a little bit of tantrum and gain a little bit of leverage because it makes fans panic. See, oh, there's no more Cowboys stuff on my favorite players' social media. And then it's kind of a way for players to try and gain a little bit more leverage here in today's day and age. What's your guys' reaction there to Jerry?
Fix your camera, number one. the auto framing.
He's got that tracking on.
Where's the IT guy? I just really like Jerry Jones. I love the way he spoke right here, and I trust him. I deal directly with him. I trust him about these agents really kind of in the middle with incentivized not to exactly do what's best for both parties in certain scenarios. I like him. I like what he's saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of credence. Obviously, you take everything that one party says with a grain of salt, and
I say that because he is offering more money than anybody ever has for him.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of credibility with what he's saying.
I believe that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like he's actually putting his money where his mouth is, and he's at least delivering on his end of the bargain to a certain degree, and in his estimation, in a business estimation. Like that's what's happening here, and it's just really weird. I've been thinking about this because we've been going back and forth on the Jerry soap opera and the Cowboys soap opera for the past few months, it feels like, and all offseason. Like he's won the offseason. Nobody else has. Like this guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to play this game. He knows how to play the drama game. And this has been going on for months and months. But I think what it boils down to is like, obviously Jerry's cut from a very different cloth. He's cut from an old school cloth, the handshake deal sort of dude, coming from Arkansas, an Arkansas guy, taking on the Texas culture and buying the biggest asset they had and building it to the biggest asset that the NFL has. Like this guy has become a behemoth in so many different ways, but he's cut from the cloth of like the gentleman's code, right? The handshake deal sort of era. So when he's talking what he's talking about is going from A to B and not adding the middleman. And he doesn't like the middleman. So like when you're having a conversation with one other man to man, and there are things that are discussed, desires explained or divulged, and like things are agreed upon in that situation, and then all of a sudden you retroactively want to insert my representation, like that's where I can understand like his frustration, because he's built everything he's built to probably with a whole lot of handshake deals, and it's gone fairly well for all parties. So it's like I totally understand his take here and his desire to totally omit the agents, because they do have ulterior motives than just getting their guys paid.
Yeah, it seems like, especially there when you said, hey, I offered Micah more money than has ever been offered, guaranteed money too, to play football on the defensive side. And I think we all believe that there. So my take is that Jerry and Micah had that. Jerry offered him the best contract ever. And then the agent, David Mulugheta, comes in later and it's like, no, we can actually get more. And then Jerry thought they had a deal. Micah kind of, got to listen to the agent here. Here's an interesting thing about that agent. Remember last year do you know about this? When the Bengals were trying to sign Jamar and T. Higgins, he represented T. Higgins. T. Higgins ended up firing him because of possibly some bad intention negotiating going on with the Bengals. And like T. Higgins grew up a Bengals fan, a Chad Johnson fan. He wanted to be in Cincinnati. He ended up firing that agent. And so that's the thing when it comes to like incentives, because, okay, you can have the money incentive, which of course you want to try to maximize that. But then there's also like hey, I want to play for this team incentive that sometimes the agents probably don't care about. Like this agent would rather have Micah Parsons play for the Saints and make $5 million more than play for the Dallas Cowboys. Like that's where I feel like the incentives don't line up. What do you think?
Yeah, Mulligeta, I mean, he represents some of the
a lot.
He's had some insanely big deals that he's made. Yep. I mean, Deshaun Watson being one of them. That just opened the floodgates, man.
You should hate that guy, Scott, because he ruined the Cleveland Browns.
Gutted the organization. Yeah, I think there's something going on here where Jerry and Micah clearly had more of than just a professional relationship. If, they're going and watching the SEC, championship and all that kind of stuff together and in the box and like doing all this stuff. Like Micah's a Texas dude. Like he's through and through like a homegrown like person. It would be perfect for the Cowboys. Like he would be a perfect star to remain a star. So like this is very bad because like I get the sense that there's somebody whispering in Micah's ear, and it's not a parent, it's not a family member, it's an agent, an outside third party, ulterior motivated individual, and it's starting to degrade the entire process and relationship that Jerry Jones built with Micah, and it's sad to see.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's like, because he would benefit. Like, for example, Micah also benefits a lot from, like, he's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, but he benefits also from playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Micah has a podcast, and he likes that media world as well. And if you go play for a bad team that doesn't have the spotlight on them the same, but you make $4.5 million more a year, or whatever it is that really the best move in the long run? I don't know. Probably not.
And on top of that, you're talking about him getting a lot of benefit that he may not be looking at and seeing right now, being that he's at the Cowboys, being that he's a homegrown Texas dude. Yes. There's so much, like, the fans love him because of those two factors. And if he removes one of them, I don't know if that same following will believe in him in the same way. Look at LeBron James and what he did when he left Cleveland for the first time. That hurt his legacy and his relationship with the fans that felt so deeply connected with him to such a degree that now he's like, you're either on one side or the other. There's no gray in between there. Like you're either love or hate LeBron. That could happen, especially in Texas with Micah, if he decides to do what it sounds like he's doing.
100%. Well, let's hope he puts the Cowboys stuff back on his social media, because that's what matters. That's a good sign. All right, let's go to another old school guy real quick. This is kind of cool. Mike Vrabel, Patriots going to be all right. I think they're going to. We're talking about teams that have a big turnaround in 1 year. Scott, you mentioned the Commanders and then the Texans the last couple of years. Patriots might be that team this year, thanks a lot in part to this guy and also this culture. This is sick.
There's a report today that Jalen Pope will have to have season-ending shoulder surgery. Can you add anything to that?
No. I don't know, other than I'd like to find out where some of these come from. Some of these rats around here, so figure that out.
I would be.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's how you handle that. That's how you handle it. You don't take the bait. You go, where's the source of this rumor?
Well,
this is an internal problem.
I would just be so scared if I was the person spreading those and realizing I'm the rat. Oh, Vrabel is calling me the rat. There's going to be a dead horse head and somebody's dead in Foxborough, Massachusetts this week. It's just like, but what do you think? What do you think of the Patriots here? I mean, the Drake May coming year 2, Will Campbell left tackle, awesome spirit of a 57-year-old man.
Yeah,
seems to have a very good preseason as well. What do you think about the Patriots?
Yeah, I think Campbell had a tough day. I think it was last week in one of his games, in one of the games. But he's definitely showed out throughout camp and everything like that. I think the one thing is their defense is going to be ready to go, especially with a guy like Vrabel, and they're solid across the board on that side of the ball. So I think with this guy at the helm, the Patriots are dangerous, man. The Patriots are seriously dangerous.
They have a scary culture, and I think having a defensive-minded coach like this, you can instill culture more so than an offensive-minded coach. And because I think having a scary, intense culture that he is implementing on their defense, I think that is the high tide that raises all ships on a team more. Yeah. And you can do that more with starting on the defense than starting on the offense.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so too. Listen to this. This is their schedule. So we talked about the Giants schedule, kind of hard. Patriots schedule. Las Vegas. Very winnable. Miami. Who knows what's going on there? That culture is crumbling. Okay. 2 possible wins to start the season. Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. All right. Let's give them a loss there. Carolina. Very winnable. Buffalo, no. New Orleans, very winnable. Tennessee, very winnable. Cleveland, always winnable.
Hey.
Atlanta, winnable. Tampa Bay, all right. Baker's doing all right. Jets, like they have a reasonably easy first 10 or 11 weeks where they could seriously be looking at like 7-3. Let's move on. Last thing here, Scott. I want you to lock in for this one, okay? Because this is crazy. It's locked in. Okay. One of the most historic and traditional programs in all of college football. Notre Dame Fighting Irish have updated their logo, at least for the football team. And they have done this. Okay. They have added the leprechaun with a football running with it. Okay. And keep in mind, like we said, this is one of the oldest and most traditional programs in all of college football. Do you think that they needed this modern touch on their logo, Scott? And Mikey.
Scott, take it away.
There's something about blue blood programs that should be untouchable. So you look at the great programs down in the SEC. You got Alabama. You got Texas that don't touch their logo because they realize that isn't what's going to end up selling merch. That's not what's going to end up moving the needle. That's not what's going to get you wins on the field. I mean, yeah, it's a great way to earn some revenue and some profit with the merch, as I mentioned, but that's not the driver. I get why Notre Dame feels like they might need to do this in this day and age. But ultimately, I think this is something that they shouldn't touch. Notre Dame's iconic Fighting Irish logo is just that. It's incredibly iconic. You don't need to change what isn't broken. There's this guy, there's the golden helmet, there's the golden dome, there's touchdown Jesus. You already have 4 things that you have legs up on all programs. Like, you are college football. You are college football history. You are the bedrock. And I mentioned like those SEC teams. I still don't think they light a candle against Notre Dame and what they bring to the table in Newt Rockne of the past and all that kind of stuff. So I get why they tried to do this. I'm hoping that this is just a blip in the radar on the radar. You know, just something that they're kind of playing with for a season or playing with for a couple games or anything like that. But please do not deviate from what makes you great. And I think this is just a misfocus. I don't want to see Notre Dame chasing the dollar or chasing the fan as hard as they seem to be doing with this change. I think there are going to be a lot of people left by the wayside. You know, obviously it's inconsequential to what happens on the field, but at the same time, let's not start going down this slippery slope route.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. You might think this is small, slippery slope. Mike?
Yeah.
Completely. I completely agree with everything you're saying. And this is the chasing fans versus attracting fans. This is like, look at like Penn State or like USC. They don't change anything. They attract their fans. Like, this is, first of all, I hope they don't put this guy on the helmet or anything like that.
No, God.
Number 2, look at the guy's hairline. It just feels really gimmicky and trend followy. And it just comes across very weak.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah. There's one thing here. Okay. For the university at large, the brand at large, I think there's ways in sports that you can play around with logos, right? So like the hockey logo, I think it makes sense to kind of like add a little element to it. But I think what we're talking about, Notre Dame is Notre Dame because of their football program and because of the traditional foundation that they built back in the day when they hit the radio waves for the first time. And they were the first organization and program that actually had national syndication and their games were out there for everyone to see and listen to first. But like, that I don't think should be touched, but all the other ones, like if you're talking about just selling merch, that's not necessarily associated with the Notre Dame football program, but just Notre Dame at large or another sport, totally cool. Experiment. Like that's fine, but don't touch the one thing that got you to even get to the point that you could sell merch for these other programs and have the reach that you do. Don't touch what isn't broken.
Do not touch it.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole because I actually do. One, with the Brian Kelly era, there were many changes that occurred in this program that really frustrated not just myself, but I know a lot of Notre Dame fans. Like, there are so many problems there that happened. One, turning the field into a turf field. Don't think that should ever have happened. Yeah. The quality of grass there was incredible. It was an advantage that was specific to the tradition of Notre Dame. And, you know, we think back to the Bush Push games and all that kind of stuff back in the mid 2000s. That was like an advantage. You don't cut the grass for the week, and it may slow down the fastest dude in college ball, and it may give you an advantage or a chance, especially when you're out there practicing on it. And I think, you know, outside of weather and anything like that, that's a great advantage to have as a college football program. And I don't think that's like cheating or anything like that. It's just like, hey, this is the environment that you're coming into play. Prepare for it. So like that was changed. And then on top of that, I know they made a huge, huge deal with Under Armour. That changed some of the look and style of some things. Like the gold went from like more of a matte gold to a sparkly gold. I'm still kind of on the fence about the sparkly gold helmet. I don't think that was the best change. I think the matte gold was traditional. It was the best thing out there. And then when my dad was playing back in the 80s, they tried throwing a shamrock on the helmet. Oh. Boy, did that fall flat. So they went away from that. I think the only thing that Notre Dame should ever do is once every 2-3 seasons throw a green jersey on. And that's cool. That's it.
That's cool. That's Mike, you know, I love green, and that specific green from those alternatives that Notre Dame does every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's cool. Okay. So there we have it. That's our Notre Dame grievance section. Do you have anything else you want to get off your chest? Scott, anything else? Do you feel okay?
Yeah, I can't dig deeper into the well right now. It'll just ruin my Friday.
Okay. Don't let that happen. Hopefully it's just a temporary thing. They're going to put on some hats and shirts, and it's not going to be permanently implemented. Okay. Don't mess with the tradition. Slippery slope.
That'd be good if they just did a single, you know,
it's like a merch
line with that. That's cool.
That's
just
fine.
Don't touch the team.
Yeah. All right. So there we have it. Notre Dame, new logo, scaring people. And the New York Giants are the most fun quarterback group in the National Football season.
I love how the most animated we get is about the logo conversation. All the
passionate about the logo.
That's the one that hit closest to home for everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you on the next one.